fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I am the Keeper of the Secrets, and this is episode 38. Our recap will be given by Josh Harwood as his character, Dr. Dorian Dabrowski. So without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Josh? You're muted.
Oh God, thank you, voice in my head, for pointing out that I was muted. Oh, this is all getting too much for me. So dear Daria, my dear sister, it's been a while since I have written to you. Uh, so you might have seen correspondence with your husband that I was having. Um, we continue discussing Johann Winkelmann's murder after finding out about it. Whilst discussing this, eventually we were walking past the hotel and we saw a pale man there, which the ghost of Winkelmann is what we surmised. Myself, Neruda, and the other doctor, which I can't remember his name, and he hasn't changed it. Um, Kurz, Dr. Kurz, mind my unprofessionalism. Uh, Yes, we went up because I have a somewhat skill of lock picking, which we picked up back in the day. We managed to lock pick the room, and there was nothing there. That came to nothing. I decided to stay the night, as did Neruda, but I went back and got my piece of the puzzle and brought it back here. We thought it might trigger something. It did not trigger anything, and it being apart from the other pieces did also not trigger anything. I am still suffering from it, as is block. It is becoming quite a nuisance for us both, and I assume everyone else once we get more of the pieces. Uh, the next morning, today, we decided to visit Miss Timona, uh, which we set up. And he provided us with a journal. It was in ancient Greek, so we needed to get a translator, which we eventually did. Translator Marcius Montanelli. Hopefully that will pan out more for us. But Timona's house was a little weird. His butler Marcus was very, very strange man. He did not seem to like our presence. Timona was friendly, but Neruda had some doubts. Neruda had some very strange doubts that there was something beneath his clothes. This man did not have he was missing an arm. Usually I wouldn't suspect anything, but knowing everything that's happened to us, everything so far on our journey, I kind of have to believe Neruda. And I kind of have to find it suspicious that his wound can't just be a war wound or a loss of whatever. I fear this is a piece of a puzzle for us to unravel further down the line. Eventually, back at the hotel, the main hotel, we saw a man outside, a suspicious man, and we all went our separate ways. Neruda had a trip up and down an elevator, whilst Block and Kurz departed and went and actually sat down, as we were spectating a man with a red fez. I took Thursby to one side, because I fear we need to keep an eye on the translator, because I just do not trust leaving that, especially I think with Timona. I do not trust it, and my instincts are usually not wrong. But this man with the red fez, cause a cause for concern. Hopefully I can attach more to this letter for you, my dear sister. Hopefully we will meet again. But if not, I love you.
Okay. So as I recall, you guys are kind of at the bar. You're getting ready to go out for lunch. The fellow is in the lobby that you suspect is spying on you. What do you want to do? What are your plans for today? For the rest of today?
Oh,
Herr Bloch, you have the schedule of the Gigante cave from the concierge?
yes, she provided that for me.
Uh,
She didn't know about the pubs that were referenced in the article.
yeah, perhaps it has been too long. We might speak to a historian at some point about that if there's a local, someone who studies business in the city. So if everyone who decides to keep an eye on us either has an interesting head of hair or wears a fez, it would be extremely convenient. Particularly difficult to sneak one of those things into a cave with us without our noticing. With the impression, those of you who got here first, is that he's not simply sitting there reading a paper. Yeah, he is waiting for something or someone.
Yeah,
Should have finished it by now.
Yeah,
I'm sitting right across from him reading a paper as well.
Why? Because I am opposite. I am with you, Theodore.
So we'll see if he follows us out.
Yeah, maybe have one of us go out and see if he goes with that, and then the rest get up, and maybe we can confront him then.
Why do you wish to confront him only to find out for whom he is working?
Yeah, find out what he's trying to figure out. Maybe he's looking for the same thing, and he has some info we don't, and then we can just hand him over to the black shirts.
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah. Well,
I like the idea that he thinks we don't know that he is watching us.
Yeah, I'm with Roland on that point, I think.
We keep an eye on him, and he thinks that he is being very clever and a good spy.
And if you do hand him over to the black shirts, all he's going to say is, well, they're also foreigners trying to steal.
He just says,
Italian history or whatever.
I have followed these communists here. See about the crimes they committed in Milan and Venice. Yeah, I don't think that's his wise. But first we have a bite and we go to the caves.
Yes.
And then we keep an eye out if we are followed by him or another accomplice. Or our ghost.
So how are you going to get to the caves? They are...
Were they open?
They're about 4 miles. Yeah, they do close like at 5. They close at night. Except occasionally they'll have special events where they'll...
What time is it now?
It's probably going on lunch, so yeah.
Well, we could get a cab.
Yeah, in this weather, of course we get a cab.
Yeah.
Maybe Dorian, you and I can get a cab and follow them like just a little bit later. See if anyone follows the trio out.
Yes, that would be smart. Yes.
Yeah, I'm basically just sitting right across from that guy, and I'm reading a book or paper or whatever I have.
Let's do that, Theodore.
We'll get some. Do they serve food here?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll have a little. If we're going to head out to a cave, I'll have a little lunch before we head out and make it easy. Just eat here.
So I'm sure there's like a dining room here in the hotel.
Yeah.
So
Get some hot soup since I've
are
been
you all going to eat
congested.
together, or are you gonna
Well, we have to communicate, so I think
Yeah.
there's a limit to how much we can try to fool him.
Yeah, and we've already been talking, Dr. Cruz, so
Yeah.
it looks silly if we didn't sit together after that.
Theodorus, you're sort of spying on him, spying on you. You notice he makes a couple of body language moves after a bit that indicate that he's now getting nervous. We'll say after 10 minutes, he suddenly folds up his newspaper, gets up, and walks out the front door.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll just sort of continue sitting here for 5 more minutes, and then I'll sort of meander over and hail a taxi to meet up with everyone else at the caves.
I will follow behind.
Okay, well,
Theodore.
this is before you guys have left.
Okay.
But Theodore, you're being careful. Do a spot hidden for me.
Certainly. Okay, this is terrifying because come on, guys, come on. Just this once. No, that's a fail.
Okay.
It's wait, let me make sure it's a fail. Yeah, no, it's a fail.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So are you going to go out, or are you going to go to where they are? They're just literally 20 feet away from you in the.
Yeah, I'll just head out to the front of the hotel, go to the front where they call the taxis, and just sort of stand there and look both ways.
Okay.
Maybe surmising the
this entire
situation.
time. I am with
Well,
you this entire time.
Okay. As you two step out in the front, it only takes a glance to see. You saw which direction he went. You can see that he's now, maybe 50 feet down the walkway, walking rather briskly and straight away from you. The weather is cold. The wind is blowing a bit. The man has his hand on top of his fez as he's walking to keep it on. But
How far away is he from me?
Well, a block or two by this moment.
Okay, I like whistle for a taxi really loud in his direction.
Okay. He completely ignores anything. He's going rather briskly in that direction, and then he turns a corner.
Okay.
So what do we do? What do we do, Theodore?
Do a psychology roll.
Oh, thanks, Tom. I'll eventually succeed at something. Whoa, look, it's so low, but my psychology is also really low. I rolled a 26. Psychology is 16. Oh man. Oh.
Can I assist? Can I roll? I am next.
You assist.
Sure.
I'm right
sure.
there. I am
You can
right
roll
next to you after
You
all.
can roll a psych roll too.
I don't know what my psychology, but considering I am partially an alienist, I'd like to think I have some. Apparently I have 68 psychology, and I rolled a 38, so that is a success.
Okay. Something in his movements. You're thinking, hi, I'm a tourist here in Trieste. I look around when I'm walking down the street. He's not looking around. He is focused and going definitely straight to some place. No curiosity about his surroundings at all. And he turns the corner, and I mean, when I say he's walking kind of mechanically, it's not like he's a mechanical man. It's just that he's not here for the tourism.
Yeah. Theodore, we need to go after this man. He seems to actually know where he's going.
Yeah. And how far away was that turn? 2 blocks?
Well, it's a couple blocks now.
I mean, if he was like less than a block, yeah, but he's so far gone. Sure, why not? Let's go for it. We'll just hustle. Why not?
What's the worst that can happen if we get there?
Right.
He could be a really slow walker.
Well, it's icy and snowy, so
there's no way.
What's the worst that can happen? I think Dorian needs to do a
Constitution
or dexterity roll. Sorry.
Oh God, I don't think that's 72. My dex is 65, so that's not.
So once again, Dorian slips and falls.
Does he
hits his
take me
left
out?
arm against the but he slips and falls and bangs his arm against the his
Keep
left arm
going,
against
Theodore.
the wall.
I'll catch you.
Oh yeah.
You just leave your friend there on the sidewalk.
I'll get back up. It's fine.
All right. So Theodore, you get to the corner. People on the street notice you running strangely. Somebody even calls out, be careful.
Oh yeah, just practicing for the Olympics.
And when you get to the corner and you turn and look, you can't see him anymore.
Yeah, I figured 2 blocks is a long ways to go. There's that's snowing. So are there a lot of people around or very few people around?
Well, I mean, it's a busy day. People still go to work. They still go to lunch. They live in this. So,
but when he ran and he went very quickly, were there a bunch of people then? Because 2 things I can track. I'm a good tracker, and that's fresh snow. So I can tell fresh prints from.
He wasn't running. He was walking just briskly, and yeah, there's still a lot of people around. So
so then no way to
notice him because of that bright red fez.
Got it.
But he had some place to go, I guess.
Okay,
you sort of know the general direction.
Yeah. What's roughly do I see down here? Anything not like Cults R Us or anything?
Yeah, there's a big slaughtered upside down hanging man. Children are dancing around it, singing songs.
Is there a fez shop down there?
A fez.
Yeah, there's nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, I'll return. Check on my good friend Dorian.
Oh, don't worry, I am fine. My arm a little sore, but I am fine.
All right, well, let's go find the others then, I suppose.
It was a shame we lost him. I know he was a bit far out, but I wonder where he was going. He seemed to know the place.
All right, so you guys catch up to each other. Your plan is to go out to Karst Cavern. So you get on the cab. They drive you out there. Are you just going to wander about? Are you going to take the tour? There's a big tour.
Yeah,
it goes.
I think we should take the tour.
Okay. Well, in the tour, you see a lot of beautiful caves. You see what's considered the largest cave in the world. All pretty with colored lights that they've put so that it makes it look kind of almost fairy tale underground. The tour guide gives you the size, the dimensions, and the fact that it's all been explored. He does a lot of the if you've ever been in a cave, they usually do the thing where they turn off the lights so that you can experience real total darkness and things like that. And it takes about an hour. It's fairly simple. The walkways make it easy to walk around, and the couple of facts you get from it is that the stalactites and stalagmites are made out of calcite, And despite the fact that they look like rock, they're actually quite soft. That's why you're not allowed to touch anything, that the oils from your hands getting on them will stop them from growing. And he or she, I can't remember, I'll say he shows you places where in the beginning people cut out pieces to take home as souvenirs, which basically destroys that part of the cave for 10,000 years, until it grows back. But it's actually, it's a little harder than chalk, but not as hard as like limestone.
And the structures that are built recently, little walkways over a stream and the fixtures for the colored lights, they have a calcite coating on them somewhat?
Well, unfortunately, it was before we really understood things like that. So it's been a tourist trap for 30 years now, and parts of the cave are already destroyed. So we've used those bits and pieces.
Yeah, probably some of it is,
so
there's probably
part of it is damaged already.
A lot of soot deposit in some places from before they had electrics.
Indeed.
But I'm looking to see if any of the stone residue matches the things that we saw in the Darmano home on that statue and the vase.
Well, yeah, I guess it all matches. It's a very similar chemical process. You definitely do see things that were in place probably when the cave first was explored and opened that are covered in calcite and deposits. Things that just got left by the bits and pieces of even planks and logs and things like that are now covered.
Oh.
So judging by what we saw in the Termano home, it is very similar. Does it seem like the things that we saw in the home are more likely to have come from the cave, or just they have a similar experience of some kind?
I would say that you can't think of a way that they would get those odd deposits on them, except if they were left for a long time in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
But that theoretically could also be like a wine cellar that was deep underground and really old.
But a crypt, for that matter.
Odd that something valuable wouldn't be cleaned on a regular basis, that it would be there long enough to develop a deposit like that on it.
Odd indeed.
I asked the tour guide if the caves were used for dwellings, sort of like Cappadocia in Turkey was used for dwellings, and because the Romans were here. Did the Romans dwell in here? Maybe use it as an arsenal that they could hide?
As far as we know, the answer is no. That the entrance area is fairly small. I'm making this up. I haven't researched the
I got you. Yeah,
it's fairly small. So they might not have even noticed that they were there at the time.
Okay. All right.
There's, of course, going to be evidence of animals that drifted in and got stuck and died.
Yeah.
That's fairly common. And there's probably bats in parts.
That wasn't a gathering place for artists or anything like that. Okay. All right.
So you spend an hour or two there. And it's all very interesting, but you're not sure if it has any bearing on anything in particular.
How big is the tour group?
Oh, maybe 15 people.
Yeah.
All of them from around.
No one looks familiar or striking, or
nobody looks familiar.
No one has a newspaper with a hole cut in it.
Nope, nobody like that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
so we have
around
good tourists now.
3:30 or so, if you leave, you end up back in Trieste. Where do you want them to drop you off? Back at the hotel?
Maybe we could swing by and see how was it this morning that we dropped it off for translation, or was that
Yeah,
yesterday?
it was just this morning. So
All right, then no point bothering him that quick about it.
no, it was that was this morning.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the old one, there was some talk about keeping an eye on the translator's house because we were concerned everything seemed so pleasant and easy. We didn't want to see this innocent translator get murdered or see him pack a bag and slip away onto a ship for the Orient. But I don't know who felt so strongly about that, or
I was one of the ones thinking about that. For pursuing that would have probably required immediately doing it, though, because we've now had a sizable chunk of time to elapse. We could check in on him. Maybe we could find a convincing, maybe we forgot to mention something. I don't know if we could add any value to what he's doing or insight.
My curiosity is, Tremona had this document for a long time and is only now having it translated by this friend of his.
Yeah, both are a little suspicious. One is the amount of time, and then two, if that indicates something nefarious, then his friend might not be all on the up and up here. But then again, he could have just denied us access or entry if he was trying to hide it.
Yeah.
He did
Yeah,
not
he-
have to show this to us.
Carmona could have said, "Oh,
I was just going to say that, just to remind you that it was like his great grandfather that acquired all of this stuff, and it's more or less been sitting in a house museum for years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm.
It seemed like nobody's ever come and asked about it before. So
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah,
should drop in today. That's my opinion.
It's
Just
really been only about 3 or 4
Tremona,
hours.
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense if Tremona is part of the Brotherhood of the Skin or whatever they're called these days.
Mhm.
I don't know why he would kill the translator.
Well, not so much kill, just have
He
it.
wants the translation.
Okay, yeah, fair point. And if the skinless cult is trying to find this, and maybe they're following us, maybe that would be the only concern. Then would be maybe we inadvertently led them to where this key of the puzzle is.
except the Termona family and their acquisition of the papers has been public knowledge also for all this time."
Yeah, good point. I wonder why
So-
they never pursued that avenue then, because it sure seems like a worthwhile avenue to search out, unless they already know where that piece is. Interesting.
Yeah, I think mostly
if they knew where it was, we would never see that piece again.
True.
Yeah.
I think
So they
they're more
must
interested
be
in
looking-
tailing us or seeing what we're doing than anything else here.
Yeah.
Look at this article again.
So
we could drop by the Hotel Vanoli and see if our friend the ghost is staring out the window at us again. Maybe he does sign language. We can have a chat.
Maybe.
Or maybe we are just impatient. We have been running very quickly from one thing to another, and we simply must wait until tomorrow when we see what the ancient Greek says.
Maybe
Yeah, I
we
mean,
should take a
oh.
break. Take an afternoon off.
I mean, I'd be happy to go by the library and do a little history checking, see if, as Dr. Curse suggested, possibly those bars that the soldiers hung out with back in the Napoleonic days. See if we could find any
We've also
where they were located.
There was also the matter of the scrolls.
Hmm.
We got the scroll of the head, but there are other scrolls that we need to find. So
Yeah.
perhaps we can also spend some time in a library trying to find any reference to such artifacts. We have not done so yet.
Maybe we could stop by a pastry shop and buy something like a nice cannoli for the man with no hands or tongue that we frightened the last time we went to the library.
Oh, yeah.
Bring him a box of chocolates.
Yeah, just no finger food. So that'd be cool.
What food do you get a man with no hands and no tongue?
Soup? I don't know.
Soup, yeah.
Get a straw.
With a straw,
Get a
yeah.
straw. Take the cannoli, blend it.
It's a nice library. So you're going to head to the library? Have the taxi drop you off there?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So you head into the library. What were you going to look up?
I was wanting to look into, like, I was trying to figure out, where those bars were that the Napoleonic soldiers hung out with in the one article we found. What were they called? They were the Drunken Goat.
And some sort of lizard also. Maybe they have historical maps somewhere. They have a local history exhibit or wing or collection.
Yeah, the Lizard's Cave Tavern. Lizard's Cave.
They, the caves are famous. Go ahead and do a library roll.
Long day, so this is good. I'll spend 5 luck to pass.
Okay. Well, with a regular pass, all you're going to find is you're going to find some old maps, but they don't list each individual place. They list street names and so forth.
Could I assist? Could I assist Gunther on that?
And, you're all there.
He's checking one stack. I'll check another stack.
Yeah, but that's probably all you're going to find. It's not like anybody would have a list of ancient, 200-year-old bars in town.
Wait till you hear about MacGuffin's new book.
Okay.
So
MacGuffin's Index of Places of Past Import.
Okay.
So I would like the rest of you to do spot hiddens.
Ooh, look at that. 93.
A 10 is an extreme success.
I failed.
What is that noise? All right, with an extreme success, you notice that there is at the end of one of the tables, there is an open book. But there's nobody sitting there. With your number 10, with your eagle eyes, you're looking around the room and you catch a glimpse of the man with no hands. He is across the library behind the stacks, and he's not looking at you directly, but he is looking at a couple of the other of the rest of you, and he's sort of peeking out, and he looks distressed, but but not like runaway distress. He doesn't see you, Dr. Naruto, looking at him. But he's watching.
I'll just say, don't look now, but our unfortunate friend is watching us. Be careful not to spook him.
Which way should I not look?
Over your left shoulder.
Good. Well, if you were right that he was silenced with the removal of his tongue and hands, perhaps he has found another way to communicate with us.
Maybe I will wander over to that open book.
Okay. You wander towards the open book, and when you're just about there, you see him turn and he looks in your direction. But he doesn't run away. He just looks at you suddenly. And he's looking back at the others and going back and forth like he's nervous. What do you want to do?
What is he looking at? What's the book?
No, he's looking at you, and he's looking at you the others.
Oh,
he doesn't say. Oh, the book. I'm sorry, you said the book.
Yeah, the book.
Greek mythology. Just some.
Okay, so I'll kind of start like walking towards him, and I'll just kind of call it very gently. So you enjoy the classics.
Then he raises his hands. He's like,
I'll move to follow him if he wants to go somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, he kind of moves for you to follow him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll follow him.
The rest of you see this now. And he looks over at you as well. He's just...
I'll put down my frustrating atlas that I was looking at and calmly walk over.
Okay. So he's heading for the door.
Okay.
Right. So you're all following?
Yeah. If this is a trap, I would be very surprised.
As I'm heading in that direction, I take a good look around at the rest of the people in the library. Does anyone seem to be watching us intently, or?
No. There you might get a glance from one of the librarians looking up.
Okay.
Looking over at the book that's on the table. And then...
Sure. I'll follow out then. I just want to make sure there's no impending doom here.
All right. So he gets to the door and he steps out, and the wind is blowing and it's cold. And he's looking very intently in all directions as he gets outside. And then he turns and he starts walking sideways down the street. And occasionally he panics and he turns back and he looks to see if you're still following. And then he continues on. So he continues on for maybe 10 minutes. And sometimes he's a little faster and sometimes he's a little slower. Sometimes he slips a little bit in the ice and recovers and then keeps going and then keeps looking back to make sure that you're still following.
Mm-hmm.
And you are, if you are. Interject if you want to do something.
I'll try to speed up so I'm like right by his side.
Okay.
Can I do a navigate roll to kind of get a feel for what are we heading away from our hotel, or get a feel of kind of where he's taking us?
Well, it's easy enough to do. You don't even have to roll. He's definitely taking you into a poorer part of town.
Okay.
A little bit more industrial. Um, Eventually, he turns onto a street. I'll add this. There's a couple moments when he sees black shirts, and he immediately turns and motions for you to come like down an alley instead, trying to avoid the black shirts.
Okay.
Eventually, you come into an area. It's kind of industrial. There are a few tenement buildings. It's not very clean. It's kind of dirty. Down an alley into an opening in an area, and there is a small, really rundown looking hovel that he heads towards, and gets up there and sort of pushes open the door. It's not very well constructed. Looks like it could fall down. But he motions for you to come inside, and he's giving you that look like, quickly, you know. All right, so you get inside. He walks over to the fireplace, which doesn't have a fire in it, and he stops there for a second, and he's looking at a picture in a frame on the mantle, and he stops for just a moment and sort of freezes in place. And then he turns around, and what comes out is an odd display of jerky movements and mumbling, not mumblings, but he seems very upset and very almost hysterical, his arms waving about. And he's pointing at things, and there's stuff on the floor, and it's not very clean, and he's definitely trying to communicate something to you, but you don't know what it is.
How grossing I have.
You say his name, and he like looks at you surprised.
Is there a pin?
He has no hands, so.
Oh, well, that's right. Do any of us happen to have a nice ballpoint pen that we could
Have they invented those yet?
A fountain pen, yeah.
Fountain pen, yeah.
Well, do a spot hidden for me, looking around the room.
Oh, yeah, because I want to write to this guy and, hey, look at that, it worked. I see something. I regularly see something.
Okay. There's a typewriter. So you get the impression he used to write. There are dirty pages of things all over the place.
Oh,
and
yeah. That's what I was going to do. I was going to look around and like pick things up off the floor, look for books, papers, anything.
Is there a oh, that's right. Yeah. How's this going to work? So we can speak Italian to him and he can respond to it.
We can speak German to him. He's German.
Oh, yeah, that's even better. He'd actually understand that.
I mean, I'm sure he speaks Italian or spoke Italian, but Herr Grossinger, we had asked, after we upset you before, we had asked the librarians for your name because we felt sorry to have bothered you. Yeah. The picture on the mantle is important, yes?
He points at it. It shows a picture of him, much younger, standing next to a woman and a child.
Mm.
And he sort of takes his arm and sort of brushes up against the woman in the picture.
Yeah, your family, I guess, yes?
And he starts walking around the room looking for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What to do?
Side crawl on him. I just want to get more of a general gist.
You can tell he's got a combination of fear, hysteria, and you think that he might be a little bit as well.
Yeah, cool. That.
I'm gonna start like if there's paper strewn about, kind of like putting it into a pile, somewhat tidying up the place. And what I'm looking for is if he like I grab something. He's like, he acts like, oh, hey, I wanted you to see that, or that's important to me.
Um, so you start tidying up, as you say, and when he notices you, he gets a look of, I guess you could maybe mistake it for anger. It's frustration. He comes over and he just knocks the papers out of your hands. Um,
It,
uh,
it, is there something you want to show us here?
And then he sees something on a table, and he goes bang, and he hits the paper that's on the table, and then points at it with his stump.
Fragments from Helmut Grolsinger's journal in German. Going back to Roman Tergasti, although Friedrich Wilhelm von Jute suggests that the cult may have been a survival from older times, seem to prefer living, in parentheses, dwelling in caverns beneath the surface. The plentiful karst caravan formations in this vicinity, the name is derived from Gros, the Slovene name for this area, would provide ideal and absolutely from some other place. Andromeda's galaxy. What in the world? They vermis mysterious. They can manifest as human fish, visible through the skin, internal organs pulsing and glistening, Guntanathoa. Still others are thought to worship the windwalker Ithaha. Overheard them discussing some task which their masters had given the cult many years ago, as yet unfulfilled. Unspecified punishments were fingers, toes, eyes, limbs grafted onto the body. May move of its own volition or at the will of ordered to keep alert and to procure any artifacts that might have magical powers to offer to the invisible.
And as you're reading this, he's just becoming somewhat hysterical. And you say fingers, and he waves his arms, and he points to his mouth, and he's got tears in his eyes.
Did the cult take your fingers to graft onto them?
So sorry, that is horrible.
And he moves for you to follow him again.
Okay.
And he steps back outside, and he does this towards you, and then he goes,
You wish us to go to someone and destroy them? No. We must go over there. What direction is that?
northeast.
Let's go
There
to
is
the
that the
northeast.
caves in your journal. Is that where they are?
But what's northeast? Do we roughly know what's northeast from here?
Well,
What are some things that are northeast?
Herr Grossinger, if I may ask you a question. We were in a home this morning, and we saw there were art artifacts in the home that had a crust of rock on them, as though they were in deep caverns. Does this sound like the people you have had trouble with?
he just keeps pointing towards the northeast.
And looking towards the northeast, is it a particular mountain or hill or anything over there, or is it
Is
just
that where the Termona house was?
There's buildings in that direction from where you're. Like, no, it wasn't where Termona was.
Or the caverns?
Do you want us to destroy something? Because you seem to react when yes, completely annihilate something
Like
over
that.
there. But what is over there?
As he's doing that, around the corner down the street, you see some black shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sees them, he just looks at you and he goes,
Yeah.
and he runs and goes into his house and slams the door.
Okay.
And we put our arms behind our back and whistle and walk in a direction away from the way the black shirts are walking. Not opposite or towards them, but off to
Perpendicular. Mhm.
perpendicular.
All right. You walk for about 10 minutes and you're heading back into the main part of town.
Mhm.
Do a spot hidden for me
Oh, come on, baby.
as you are all walking together nonchalantly in the
Nah.
cold and the wind.
Yeah.
96.
Oh,
My
4.
eyelids
Together
have
we make
frozen
100.
Woohoo! So Dr. Roland, Dr. Kurz, you notice, and then you suddenly sort of put your hand out for everybody to stop. But down the street, you can see that red-headed man. And he doesn't seem to notice you, but he looks impatient, like he has lost your trail.
Friends, you see the curious fellow. Do you think we can keep out of his sight and watch him, or maybe two of us? I think maybe Thursby and
Join
Dombrowski, or maybe Sneaky.
I'm very sneaky.
Very good.
Maybe the three of us then. We keep
Very sneaky indeed.
Yeah,
So- Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's easier to follow someone as 3 than as 5. So maybe we step back onto this side streets before he sees us, and then we go back to the library or something, and find you in an hour, and you tell us what the redhead man does.
Sounds like a plan.
He's alone.
He's alone. In fact, he's sort of impatiently moving back and forth, like, should he turn here or should he continue straight? And it's definitely the path that you were taking when you went to Grossinger's. It only lasts a moment before he finally takes a chance. He turns around. He starts moving down the alley that you guys actually moved down.
Yeah, he's a good hunter.
I'll try and hide in the shadows.
You're going to try to catch up so that he's
Yeah.
now around the corner from
Oh, okay, he's moving.
yeah.
I thought he was coming down the alley we were in. Okay, no, yeah, I'll try and catch up to him.
All right,
Yeah.
you run up to the alley, and as you get to the alley and you look down the alley, you see him now stepping out of the alley onto the other street.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, as he's standing there, sort of looking towards the right, which was the direction that you went, a black car, like a gangster car, I guess, suddenly screeches to a halt right next to him. And you see 2 gentlemen jump out of it, and they grab him and start beating on him, and they wrestle him to the ground, and they drag him into the car, and then the car peels away. The 2 men looked like Turks. The redhead, by the way, does not look like a Turk.
Right, yeah.
Hmm.
And these Turks were dressed like businessmen. They didn't have fezzes on their heads.
Right.
I don't think we can continue following him at this point.
No. But they went, we can tell what road they went down, but yeah, we're not going to catch up to a speeding car.
So
Well,
I
if
guess
we-
we are not going
Well,
to
if
see
they
him.
took him, that means is he affiliated with a different party?
I would
Well-
think so, because I assume they took him pretty rough, and seems to be multiple people interested in this. And
Well, there's
Yeah.
definitely multiple people. But who?
Hmm.
I don't think we're going to get the answers without actually confronting him, which will be a bit impossible at this moment in time.
Yeah. At least still has his tongue.
Hmm. I am worried where Grossinger was pointing. He was northeast.
Well, if what his journal said was true, and there is some kind of entities and human worshippers in those caves, it mentioned that they collect things. They could be in possession of, say, a particular
Yeah.
artifact brought by a murdered Winkleman to this place.
So maybe it's somewhere within the cavern system.
Maybe.
What is north? What is other than buildings? What is northeast? Is are the caverns northeast? This is to the GM.
There's lots of caverns in the mountains, but the karst caverns are in one direction. Northeast, the next major town would be Postumia. Along the tracks of the Orient Express.
Now back to you. I don't know if he's pointing northeast. He wants us to destroy something. That's seemingly what he was trying to convey. Is he on about
I
some of
felt
the
he was much
caverns, or is
harder
he
to
on about the
read.
next? Yes.
I don't know
Well,
what
he was
is.
He was distressed. It's from a psychological perspective, it's difficult when someone is that distressed and that out of it and uh, has that much trauma, it's very much hard to read them. So,
So the library's still open?
Probably for not much longer.
What's about 4 o'clock now?
Yeah, he's just in his notes. He mentioned a book. I just wonder if they would have that book at the library, see if that could provide a clue. Like De Vermis Mysterious or
There's a copy of that at a Miskatonic.
oh, well.
But it won't do us much good
in
here.
The restricted collection.
You're probably aware of it as a dangerous book.
Yeah, but probably never read it, so it's like
It's interesting that this Grossinger has, in better days, aware of the work of von Junst, which is fairly esoteric. I wonder what he was before his calamities. I wonder what happened to his family. The photograph on the mantelpiece, was he 10 years older in that?
Yeah, probably at least.
At least. And so the child
he
would
looks
be...
like he's been aged badly.
Yeah. Yeah, the torment and filth. But the child might be an adult now, if the child had lived, assuming the child did not, that this family is lost to him.
Yeah.
I wonder who he was. That's something else perhaps another library can tell us. Perhaps Grossinger made a name for himself in some capacity before he found himself washed up here in Trieste with psychological and physical damage to such an extent.
Well, and his journal referred to this locality by the Slovenian name.
Yeah, as part of historic research. Here was the implication not that
It's only been Trieste for a few years, I believe, at this point. Yeah. When the Austrians turned the city over to Italy at the end of World War One. So,
but he was referring to the Roman name and then greater antiquities beyond that, I believe.
Well, he said Trieste.
Yeah, he referred to it by
Oh, that's a German name?
Trieste is what it was called. It's actually the Roman name, but that's what it's been called up until World War One was finished.
I thought the implication was that he was referring to a very ancient religion that was perhaps before even the Roman.
Yeah,
I think he was referring. He did say something.
But he just referred to the town as Trieste. Or where is it?
I wonder
are you
if we
heading
have
back?
misjudged. Yeah,
to
we
the
should see
library?
if there's a message perhaps at the hotel. Oh, yeah, we can see the library first if we have a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, even if we get in for the last half hour, that's still something. It's a roll of the die. Maybe.
Well, we could look at a map and just kind of see what is northeast from where he was. I mean, we know where his hovel was.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, there's the city in proper. There's no landmarks in that direction.
Okay.
That you can find, unless they're underground. But there's not really a lot of that here.
Maybe it would be worth looking at the nearby town as well, looking into that history, see if it connects. Anything northeast, I guess. It's not far of a stretch. We don't really know what he was on about. Obviously, there's a big link to the caverns, so it would be better to research more into them, but
He did seem a little bit out of his mind, so this is all hoping that he's giving us some coherent information.
Well, if he was pointing about caverns, maybe he would point northeast but down, like he's meaning underground, but he was pointing up. So I don't know. So maybe he is meaning on the land, so it might be worth looking at.
I mean, what he should do is take up a pencil between his two stumps and type, but I don't think he is.
I don't think he can comprehend anything at the moment.
He does not focus very. Yeah. But maybe you should give him some therapy, although talk therapy is difficult with a man who cannot speak.
Yes, I could analyze him, but I am not as great as my father was. But
You're amazing, Dabrowski.
Well, I mean, perhaps we could contact that fellow and I think his name's Sigmund. Sigmund Freud.
Oh, he's a Viennese, yeah. So in the library, I would like to talk to one of if there's any staff that we saw helping Grosinger before, I would like to ask if they know about his family or his injuries.
Right. So you go back to the library. You recognize the same librarian from yesterday who was helping him turn the pages. He says, I don't really know. I think that he used to be a journalist or a reporter, or he wrote things. I don't know. As to family, I've never known him to have any family. He's been in that condition. That's when I got to know him. He had a family. That's very sad.
Yeah. So how long ago did you meet him that he already had these afflictions?
He's been coming in here maybe 3 years. I don't know. He might have been around before that. I just haven't paid that much attention.
Yeah, he would not have attracted the attention, but about 3 years perhaps. Was there a period in which his injuries seemed more fresh? Or he's always been the same in your experience?
He's always been more or less the same.
Okay.
I never saw him bandaged, if that's what you're asking.
Yes. I'm gonna kind of go through, like, if he was like mugged and had his hands cut off, tongue cut off, especially if he's a journalist, I'm sure there'd be something written up about that in old newspapers or.
Okay.
So
Yeah, go ahead and do a library roll for
Good
me.
avenue for checking.
I'd like to look at the nearby town. The one that you mentioned was north.
Oh, one.
Oh, one. You thoroughly go through all of the journals, the newspapers, everything. You find nothing.
No, screw you, oh, one.
What did you say? I'm sorry, Dorian.
I want to look at that northeastern town along the tracks. Just brief
Postumia.
history. Yeah.
It's had a number, just like Trieste, the name's changed. It was Adelsberg. Before that, it had a name that was in Slovene, which is close to Postumia, but spelled with their, spelled Postojna.
Yeah.
And the Italians changed to Postumia. It does have also extensive caves, though nothing like the grand, the one that you just went to today.
Yeah. Would those caves be more northeastern, I guess, than the caves
About
that we
50
were in?
miles is how far it is Postumia from here. All right. Other than that, you don't really find anything. The library is closing.
Yeah.
You guys are getting hungry, probably. You're going to go back to the hotel?
Probably a safe.
Yeah.
For a bite to eat.
So you get back to the hotel, and it's dark. And when you sort of wonder, I mean, the wind has been blowing all day, and now that it's getting into evening, it's getting colder and windier. You notice that the old tree that was around the block has blown over, and it has taken the power lines with it. And as you walk into the hotel, there are a number of employees who are standing there with, lanterns. What are they? Hurricane lanterns. And they're like, "We're so sorry. The power's been knocked out. We're still functioning. All of the employees have lamps. We can provide you with lamps if you need that. We're going to be serving candlelight dinner. We have no other choice at the moment. It's probably going to be tomorrow before they can fix it."
Oh, wonderful. Where's a lantern? I'd love to have one.
Yeah, he hands
I
you
would
one.
also like one.
Thank you.
Oh, will the room still be warm?
Oh, they
Not
should be.
bad.
Yeah, the fire
Okay.
will keep them warm.
Okay.
Yes.
Will you be joining us then for dinner? It's quite
Yes.
cold outside, but the heating is on.
B?
Yeah.
Did you want to? I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you hints about things to do.
I would like to go to our room and check on our pieces.
Okay.
Same.
You go up and you check on your stuff. Everything is in place where you
I
left
wanna go-
it.
I kind of want to go check out the tree.
Okay, good.
Was it
Still,
blowing over or was it?
From where you were standing, it looked like it had blown over. The roots were
Okay.
up in the air, and there was dirt everywhere. It happens.
Yeah.
This tree has stood up through many Bora, however, so it is worth noting that it is happening while we are here.
We've got a lot of information, but I feel like we have hit a stump almost because there has to be some connection in what we know. In what we know about everything so far with Grossinger and everything, and the caverns, there's got to be something that we can
Yeah.
follow.
well, Tomorrow we're going to have a translated journal, most likely. Let us hope that something comes of that.
I will ask, of course, the staff how extensive the blackout is. Is it 1 block or 10 blocks or?
It's everything on this street.
Oh, okay, not too bad.
Not very extensive, but hard to repair, of course, in the weather.
Indeed, yeah.
But
Of course, we
we're
could.
very, very sorry for the inconvenience. After a few minutes, there is a knock at your door. And it is a houseboy from the hotel. And he has a tray in his hand and a package on top of the tray. And he says, this was left for you about a half an hour ago.
What's the name? Who left it?
It's from a Marcius
Monanelli.
Marcius Monanelli.
Thank you. I'll give him a tip, whatever.
I give him a little tip as well.
Okay. And thank you, sir.
You're
He turns around and he leaves.
Did he look scared, or did he just look like a kid delivering a package?
He's big smile on his face, and
okay, excellent.
The
box
looks like staff from here.
Yeah.
The box isn't ticking by any chance, is it?
It's not, but it is about the size of the journal.
Okay.
Take it in a room and
Marcius did a faster job than he expected he could.
Yeah, maybe it was fascinating and he just kept going.
So you open it up and the journal is in there. There are a few pages and there is kind of a note on the top of it all. And Marius says, I translated part of this, but no more.
Yeah, too upsetting.
He says, well, just basically that. It's obviously that it disturbed him.
Okay, well, we can get where he left off. We can have someone else translate it.
Do you want to read what he did, or do you want to go to dinner first?
I'd want to read.
I'd rather just read it.
Yeah,
okay.
We can get room service.
Yeah,
Are you okay if I read it aloud, gentlemen?
Oh, please. You've always had a great baritone voice, Dabrowski.
Oh, thank you.
So this is what you read.
Yes, Winkleman's diary. 3rd of May, the tablet of Tlikshri, whatever that second bit is correct. And I have traveled to Regensburg and foolishly spoken with the many-angled ones. Curse my stupidity. They have compelled me to carry a medallion to another enclave near Trieste. I am warned not to approach about the medallion, lest I be destroyed. I suspect it is a component in some dark ritual, and I fear it may aid them in eventually releasing their so-called god from its frozen Arctic prison. 15th of May. I curse those overwhelming entities, and I curse myself for seeking them. Each night the horrible dreams return, and I get no peace. I do not know how to go on. My love of art, which has been my life, has become meaningless to me. I no longer see the faces of my friends and comrades, but perceive only painted masks on grinning skulls. I wear my own mask too, and talk of the art and antiquities, but beauty has gone from the world, and my words are ashes in my mouth. 1st of June. Arrived safely in Trieste. The dreams that have haunted me since Regensburg continue. My one hope is that after I have delivered the medallion, the dreams will stop. Please, God, make them stop. 2nd of June. Met a local man, Arkangeli, a fellow who promises some diversion. More importantly, through certain gestures and words, he leads me to believe that he knows of the local colony of Loiga and can guide me to their lair. 3rd of June. I cannot trust Arkangeli. He has asked to see the medallion as a sign of my appointment as courier, but his manner is sly, and I suspect that he would prefer to carry the medallion himself. These cultists vie for the favors of their masters. I have stoled him, but without his help I cannot reach their secret lair. 5th of June. In my despair, I weakened and performed the ritual, and spoke with the twin obscenities that appeared, and learned from whence they came. The entities know I am here with their medallion, and tell me to bring it with me to their subterranean lair, or incur their wrath. I am sick at heart. They have said that escape is impossible, and I believe them. I must obey or die, and even that may not free me. 6th of June. I managed to give that rogue Arkangeli the slip, and have hidden the medallion. I'm certain now that he intends to steal it, as I came upon him searching my room. I shall have to wait until I am no longer watched, and make my own way to the caverns at Adelsberg to deliver the amulet. I dare not go there without it. 7th of June. Arkangeli continues to plague me, and I cannot recover the amulet without his notice. I have discovered that he, along with other cultists who serve those Loiga, attempt to steal every occult item which passes this way, and make thereof offerings to please the worms. I fear that they will find the amulet, denying me the opportunity to complete my appointed duty, and that these dreams will never cease. I guess it was worth looking into that town after all.
Sounds like the caverns of Adelsberg might be a place to look into.
So the next small stop along the track.
Yeah, and the correct direction that for crossing us suggests.
So I was correct to look into that town.
What are these Loiger he speaks of?
Sound
I
like
do not
a
know.
name of a
but-
cult or something is what I thought it was.
He mentioned winged, and we've been troubled by a winged gargoyle creature.
Yeah.
Is there a correlation between them?
Yeah, also worms, and there was a dragon in the deep cave, and the
Yes.
text we read from the Crusades.
Have we
Yeah,
been being stalked by one of these? Is this cult he mentioned, who are in league with these Loigers? Whatever that is that what is following us?
question.
I don't know.
I wonder. Also, again, if our business here is done and we should move on to Postumia, or if there's still a matter. After all, we perhaps owe this red-haired man an apology. He seems to have been assaulted on our behalf. He might be an ally and not a foe. And there's the question of the calcite on the objects in their Termano home. I wonder if they have a cave system, perhaps beneath their own wine cellar and their own secrets. There was the discrepancy between the friendliness of our host and the surliness of Marco. There's much to consider.
There is much to consider, but will we even find the
Well, the
red-headed one
medallion. I
again?
mean, isn't the medallion hidden somewhere around here? Still,
The medallion is in Postumia in Adelsberg, we think.
Adelsberg.
Yeah, I don't think
Going
we'll
by
see
that.
Or did he
Yeah.
hide it before taking it to Adelsberg? We have to read the text again more
I
closely.
thought he hid it here and he couldn't get it, and that was
He
the
never
problem.
made it to Adelsberg. He was murdered
Yeah,
here.
he was murdered
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
he
the
never made it.
medallion
The missing eighth medallion is somewhere in
is
town,
here.
perhaps
And
with
if
his
we-
ghost at the other hotel.
Yes, there's the matter that goes. And if we are going to go to those caves and hope that they have something there that we need,
We need this
it's
medallion.
probably wise to have the medallion.
Yeah.
So we've got to find it.
What's
Which
your next
means it
move?
might be
Dinner?
somewhere beneath that hotel. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yes, let's eat. But Gabriel, before we eat, Gabriel, you did note that there was something odd with Timona and with the cow side. Maybe you are not that
The thing where his arm should have been.
bonkers.
The grafting.
Oh, you think maybe it's a finger?
Hmm.
Yes.
There's an association there now that wasn't there before.
Is it possible you are correct? Because the caverns from there could potentially reach further, not to Adelsberg, but the caverns that we saw, it could reach further under
The
the
Tremona family seems to have
How
a
long?
keen interest in collecting things.
Yeah.
That's in line
And
with
yet-
what this paper said.
And yet never bothered to have this translated. Again, perhaps there were just too many items, but
And-
it is
Is it
suspect.
worth seeing if the medallion made its way to Timona after all, and he's had it?
Might we try getting the rest of this translated by someone else? He did mention he performed a ritual that summoned the twin obscenities, and they were the ones that wanted this medallion to be returned to the lair. So
The problem
if we
is, Theodore, if this person reacted so poorly to translating it, the others, they will probably read the part that is translated, before actually translating the rest, just to get a gist of where they're going.
Well, academic circles are also very small. I don't know how many people who can read ancient Greek
Exactly.
yeah,
are in
I
Trieste,
don't think anyone will take it.
but I'm sure they all know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think we would get anyone to translate it further.
We also have a reason that he was writing his diary in ancient Greek. He wanted it to be very difficult
Yes.
for others because he was betraying his friends. Well, he had no more friends. What did he say? They were just masks over
Yeah.
skulls.
yeah.
Well, at least we now know more about what occurred with him.
So
Yeah,
yes,
he was a Faust type. He sought interaction with some devil to gain knowledge or power and was destroyed. So we put this someplace safe and we go down to dinner and then we consider our next step. I would very much like some coffee and
Yes, after
potatoes.
that read, yes. Ugh.
Okay. So where are you going to stash it? Whose room?
Oh, I'm going to keep the book on me. I'm going to put it in my inside coat pocket. I don't want that going anywhere.
Okay.
On
All
the
right.
other side, on the opposite side of my holstered
Of course.
45.
All right. So you end up going down to a beautiful candlelit dinner. There's quite a few people in the dining room. It's actually quite magical looking with all the little candle lights, and there's shadows and there's warmth, and it's quite comfortable. They've prepared a special meal because they want to make you happy, even though you've lost the electricity. So you begin your meal. There's bread and there's things. They bring out some soup, drink some soup. The proper wines are served with everything, and they bring you out the fish dish after that, and you're sitting there. I'd like you to all do spot hiddens.
If it's the red-haired man, I want a bonus die.
It's my turn for 01.
I did get a regular success.
I got a 10. We are watching
All right.
at last.
So yeah, you're looking around, you're keeping your eyes open. It's a little hard to see, of course, because it's just candlelight, so making out faces isn't so easy. But Naruto got a 1. It's almost imperceptible, but as you're sitting there looking around and looking especially at one another across the table, Dr. Naruto, you get the funny impression that everyone at the table is shrinking. and Doc occurs, you kind of start to notice, when you see Naroda noticing it, you sort of notice it too. But you have that weird feeling like you did when you were children, sitting at the adult table. And then suddenly, crash! The table falls back down to the ground. It must have levitated 3 inches off the floor, but it crashes down, and some of your things rattle and spill, and people at other tables look over at you like, what's all the noise?
Yeah. I'm gonna look under the table, like kind of like just bend down, don't get down on my hands and knees and stuff.
Just your legs.
Hmm.
It's actually a big, heavy table.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is like a seance, yes? Table lifting?
Yeah, but
Something akin to that. I think this might be our friend man in yellow.
In the yellow suit? Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody do dex rolls.
oh god.
Whoa, hard pass.
19.
It
Oh,
is my turn to get an 08, so in below a 10.
regular.
I got a hard success.
Regular.
Everybody made it.
Mhm.
Very well.
All right. So as you're sitting there and sort of thinking about this, the next you've eaten the fish, the chicken comes, and as you are eating
Are we at a table of 5? Is that how?
yeah, you're at a round
only
table,
we-
yeah.
Yeah.
As you're eating the chicken, something doesn't quite taste right all of a sudden, and it was tasting fine a moment ago. But as you look down at the chicken on your plates, you suddenly notice that they're squirming.
Ugh. Get salmonella.
The waiter comes over. Is everything all right? And when you look back at your plates, they're perfectly normal.
Yes, everything is fine.
Getting full. What is the next course?
I don't know.
Calamari.
Yeah.
Yeah, the portions are small so that you can have
Right.
multiple courses. You're
Yeah.
expected to enjoy the meal over
I know.
time. Everybody once again do dex rolls.
Jeez, come on, baby. Yeah, no, that failed me.
38 is a regular success.
Okay.
98.
And I'm at the opposite end now. I've got a 92.
Oh, so
I'm the only one who
Neruda.
passed.
Yeah.
So Gunter, you're sitting there. They bring out the next course. You reach for your wine glass, and as you're reaching for it, you're suddenly looking at it, and you realize that the wine in your glass isn't clear. It's thick and red, and it doesn't look like wine. It looks like blood.
Mm-hmm.
And when you set it back down on the table, the bowl of the glass starts to fill up, and all of a sudden it starts to overflow onto the table, and it startles you, and you sort of knock it over, and as you do, the wine, which is now wine, sort of forms a very strange thing on the table as you are looking.
Oh, what? Is that like on a placemat or something, or is it just on the
No,
tablecloth?
it's on the tablecloth.
Can't pick it up. Okay. I pointed it out to everyone else. Go, kind of shaking. I was like, "Do you see that?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this meal is not a wholesome place for us.
Dr. Roland, do a dex roll.
$42 is a regular.
Okay. You say that as you're looking around, kind of stunned. By now the stain is sort of bled out and it's no longer looking like that. You suddenly, for some reason, and you don't know why, you reach down and you grab the steak knife off the table, and it burns your hand like ice, but you can't let it go. And as you look at it in pain, you suddenly stand up and you start doing this with the knife in the air. And then you manage to let it go. Your hand isn't hurt. The knife falls. At this point, there's people that are like, the waiter comes over and he says, gentlemen, is everything all right? Do you need something?
I think we'll have to call dinner early for us.
Very good.
Yes. I stand up to
Okay.
step away from the table.
So you guys get up. You head out into the lobby. You're going back up to your rooms. You're still holding your light.
Yeah, I wonder if we should consider going back to the haunted hotel, which was less haunted, the Vanoli.
Yeah.
They might have electricity, and this disturbance is troubling.
I'm fine sleeping here. If we get more disturbances in our room, then we'll go, or at least I'll go. But we don't need light to sleep. I'm going upstairs to bed.
Did the gesture that I was being as a puppet, did it remind you of something?
Yeah, like you were stabbing somebody to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not anything particular, though.
No.
But I mean, the French soldiers, right? There was a stabbing to death and some kind of dog animal corpse found, wasn't there?
I'm looking.
It was like a corpse was found, but there was a body that was destroyed beyond recognition, which reminded me of the body in the alley in Milan, where I heard one cry and then the body was merely obliterated as if by something much more than human.
So you head up the stairs, heading towards your rooms. For some reason, the hallway looks longer in the dark. And Theodore, you were going up first. You're walking. Everybody's right behind you. And all of a sudden, Theodore, something shoves you really hard. You slam against the wall. And something whispers in your ear. And it says, "Tagebuch."
Did any of you hear that?
Did we?
Maybe. You heard something that sounded weird.
I
What
heard.
did he say? What did it say?
Tagebuch.
Tagebuch, diary. Yeah, journal. Daybook.
Okay. So yeah, this journal's
Maybe that's what disturbed the translator, not the words, but
Yeah.
Theodore, when you hold it in your hands, it feels cold.
Yeah, the knife was cold also.
Yeah, something is
tradition.
wrong with this book.
Show yourself. Is this? Are we speaking to Winkelmann? Who is this?
The flame in the hurricane lamp sputters. You guys are standing in the hallway, by the way.
Oh.
We'll go to our room.
Let's go
Let's
to our
get
room.
into one. Let's get into
Yeah.
one room together. Try to focus some light and organize ourselves.
So I'll put the book firmly on one of our tables, right in the middle of it,
Okay.
and then stand back, looking at it.
So you guys are all standing around looking at the book sitting on the table.
yeah.
So, do I recall that we have two doubles in a single room? Is that how things were arranged?
We got rooms that had like the adjoining door.
It seems, budgety. Yeah, you'd want to do that. As opposed to you all paying for your own rooms.
So maybe we are in the center room where it's easiest for us all to
Sure.
get to the pieces. Yeah. Maybe we order up a carafe of coffee and put this. I wonder if there's a way to bind this book in something so that it ceases to be so active.
I'd be willing to just put it in my coat pocket and try to sleep with it. Maybe some knowledge could come to me in a dream. Might be a nightmare, but at least it might be some knowledge.
How's your German, Thursby?
Oh, not good. It should probably be someone that understands German.
Perhaps Bloch or I should have it if we are going to try to understand what this thing is saying. Tagebuch.
Yeah.
The room that you're in, the door suddenly swings open with enough force where it sort of slams against the wall. And then it just sort of creaks half open.
Yeah, is this Winkelmann?
Door slams closed.
Someone else says a ghost.
Was it
Lantern flickering?
Not at the moment.
What was that dude's name? Archangel or his murderer?
Arcangeli, yeah.
Arcangeli.
He's Italian, or at least he passed himself off as Italian.
Arcangeli?
Oh boy, you say that.
Yeah. Oh.
The table begins to tremble, making noise, and you can hear distinctly in the air the word Tagebuch.
Look, if taking that medallion to where it was supposed to go will bring you peace, we need you to tell us where it is.
The room suddenly starts to get colder. The kerosene lamp that you're holding goes out. The only light in the room is the fireplace, and it suddenly starts to get low. And then suddenly the fire in the fireplace bursts into life, except that the fire is blue. It begins, raging sort of up and lighting the whole room in blue. The temperature starts to go down. Theodore, you realize that the book is freezing cold.
So when you say the room's lighting up in blue, that's lighting up with light, not lighting up like lighting on fire.
No, correct. It's the light from the fireplace.
Okay,
that's
I
lighting the room.
sure. Make sure to either run for my life or be scared.
The room temperature is dropping. Frost is beginning to form on the windows on the inside.
I'll try to. Is there a towel or anything like that I can quickly wrap the book in?
Sure. Yeah, you can grab a towel from the bathroom.
Yeah, I'd like to just do that. And if my room's adjoining to the one side or the other, I'd like to just quickly bring it into the next room.
Well, hold on, Theodore. Wait a moment.
The book is so cold that it burns your fingers like 3D, like third degree cold, dry ice.
Oh, even through the towel.
Oh, well, you haven't gotten the towel yet, but when you try to leave the room, you open the door to either the bathroom or to your room, the door just slams closed in your face to keep you in the room.
I think something wants us to stay here. We've got some business to conclude, I believe.
Everybody
What do you wish?
38 is a regular success.
Extreme success.
Okay.
Say nothing.
Then Theodore notices it first, but there's sort of that sort of crackling sound of ice. You look up and you notice that literal icicles are forming on the lamp, the one that's in the room. But directly across from you at the window to the outside, the frost is sort of forming a kind of odd shape or picture in the window.
Oh, that's not good. That does not look friendly.
3
And
faces.
Like masks. Like what he was writing about briefly in his journal. It's what was driving him mad, and now we're close to it. Starting to see the same thing.
Was there a shape like that on his tomb, on his cenotaph?
there was not, but it does sort of look like some sort of
Roman monument,
cenotaph
sort of.
or Roman monument. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, Finkelmann, we hear you. You are freezing us. What do you want us to do with the Tagebuch? Was sollen wir mit dem Tagebuch?
The blue flame dies down quickly. The cold sort of leaves the room. The ice on the window begins to melt. And all of a sudden, the regular fire almost explodes out of the fireplace for a second. Nobody's really close to it, so nobody gets burned. But everything suddenly goes back to normal. The room's cold, but it's going back to normal.
Okay.
So
wasn't the fish I ate.
No, we have evidently proof of a kind of life after death, although perhaps he didn't die in the normal sense, given what he said in his diary. Are we to assume that the image that he put on the window pane is where we can find the medallion? That's Romanesque, kind of crest with a... And the face was like the face you saw in the blood vine, yes?
Yes.
Does anybody want to do a cult or mythology?
I have plenty of occult.
Definitely. Yeah, I've got some decent occult.
59 is a regular success.
Anybody get better?
15? Nope. Nope. No.
All right. Well, you got a success anyway. There's something about both the things that seem just a little familiar. Reminds you of like the Green Man that you see in sculpture.
Hmm.
But in this case, it was a little bit more old, so maybe Bacchus.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. So, a grotesque, meaning like in a grotto, like in a cave. These faces, they're sometimes made into fountains.
Mm-hmm.
There's wine spitting creatures, something like that. I wonder if there's something at the museum we have already visited. It would be amusing if the missing medallion was in the museum the whole time. It also would not surprise me to see if the Termona family had a sculpture of this kind. They've been collecting antiquities for quite a long time.
The writing desk in the room starts to shake. The drawers all fly open, and hotel stationery goes flying all over the place.
I'll grab a
Um,
piece of paper and a pen, and I'll just sit down with both, and I'll just try to empty my
Let yourself
mind.
be possessed.
Do
Yeah,
a
just
little
like
automatic
just
rating or whatever.
let it. I'm just trying to like clear my mind and try my best to calm down, holding the two.
All right. Do a. We'll have your roll. You start scribbling on the paper, and after a moment, you feel like something, like your arm kind of goes numb, which is weird. You feel cold, and suddenly your hand writes a single word across the page: Marco Polo. And then you feel like you're released.
Where's my history's garbage.
Well, do you guys have history? Somebody's got
Yep.
history.
Yeah, I've got a lot of history.
definitely.
He's an explorer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that, but
I have history.
well, I was wondering, was he buried here? Was he like from here? Like my history's 5, so
Anybody with history would know. I mean, Marco Polo wouldn't know. Marco Polo was Venetian. As far as you know, he never set foot in Trieste.
Mhm.
Perhaps it wants us to play the children's game, Marco Polo.
It's a little cold for that. Hmm. Hmm.
So we would take a trip to the east like Marco Polo did. It's rather off the Orient Express. It does not go to Beijing, I think.
Well,
Any ideas?
yeah, I mean, I doubt it's an anagram because like that'd be.
Did we see something like this when we were in Venice?
I mean, there was lots and lots of sculpture.
Yeah.
Why would you even remember?
Was there back to the museum, is there Venetian anything?
You haven't seen anything Venetian in this town.
Yeah.
Was there there was a painting of
Winkleman?
yeah, Winkleman. Like, did he have a medallion? Was he wearing a medallion by any chance in that painting?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Wait.
just wondering, like, if maybe he
No.
was, maybe
He's
he
actually
didn't,
open
but-
shirted like me.
Okay.
I mean, like there's the Basilica San Marco, but that's
No, this is
not in
awfully
reference to
specific.
Marco Polo.
Yeah, this is Marco Polo.
Hmm.
Seeing if there's anything in the travel guide that
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
If only these cult victims and undead spirits could be a little more specific. This is Northeast business there, and this Marco Polo business over here.
It's like they want you to solve a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Feast
plain
correlates to now, but now we've got this mystery.
So I vote Gunther. You should snuggle up with the journal tonight and have a dream.
there's let's see, there's an open air museum that's a disused burial ground full of Roman antiquities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, full
It
Roman
contains a
antiquities.
monument decorated with an allegorical relief, a medallion portrait, and fragments of an Amazonian free.
I have heard worse suggestions.
Yeah.
Well, definitely this Marco Polo
Let's see,
clue.
there's the Catriel San Giusto, which is a cathedral that is part of the foundations of an ancient Roman temple.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, and the Kenzo Hotel Vanule goes back to ancient days and is perhaps where Winkelmann would have had his last opportunity to hide the medallion, yes? Perhaps it's even in the, somehow it is incorporated in the sculpture of the broken man on the wheel outside, which is difficult to think of practically, but aesthetically is appealing.
So he went to hide the medallion from Arkanajli.
All has to link.
Yeah. Somehow.
We have the end result, which is the caves, but we need the medallion, and somehow what we've just learned must link to where this medallion is, but we need to.
Yeah, he was on his way to the caverns, but he also mentioned that he was hiding it from Arkanelli.
Arcangeli.
So he was in a hotel or something like that.
Mhm.
He was where
But
he was.
He would have put it somewhere where maybe somewhere old. So Neruda's probably not on the wrong tracks looking at sites like that.
June
Easy to hide.
6th. He said, I managed to give that rogue, Arcangeli, the slip and have hidden the medallion. I am certain now that he intends to steal it as I came upon him searching my room. I shall have to wait until I am no longer watched and make my own way to the caverns at Adelsberg to deliver the amulet.
Yeah.
I dare not go there without it. So he's talking about hiding it, but then going there to deliver it. So did he deliver it? Maybe it's no longer hidden. Maybe it is in the cave. But if it's in the cave and delivered,
never made it.
I don't think it's in the. He never made it to the cave, but
He never made it to Adelsberg.
again at the Giardino Lappiardo, the medallion portrait Marco Polo.
yeah.
MP. Maybe.
Oh.
Or I'm just grasping at straws and have completely lost my mind. But
Yeah, it is, but I'm gonna be honest, that sounds like a perfect clue to go upon, even if it's a dead end. At least it's something.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do it. Let's double down.
It's
Medallion,
it doesn't
Marco
open until
Polo.
10 a.m. tomorrow.
Well, we wait till 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Does it say what time the Roman Antiquities place? Or is that an open air?
We'll say
That
10
is-
a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, or whatever.
Well, so
Is
it's the place I
Italians
mentioned
always like-
is an open air museum
Okay.
that opens daily at 10 a.m.
Okay.
It's free on Sundays, damn it.
Oh, we just missed
It's
it.
2 lira.
Why don't we wait
Otherwise.
until Sunday?
There we to save a couple
Lira. Couple lira.
The ghost is going to be so pissed with us each night.
Yeah. You don't have to pay for stuff though, so.
Yeah, he was murdered on the 8th of June.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This, I'm sorry, you recall also the name of the assistant, the manservant at the Termano estate?
Marco.
Marcus.
Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus.
Marco, I think. I have written down Marco. I
Half
think
the population is named Marco.
Marco is closer to Marco than Medallion is closer to Marco. If we're going to go for anything that spells M and P,
Yes, but we are looking.
Museo Palazzo.
We are looking for a medallion, and the medallion it's a stretch, but
I mean, yeah.
Yes,
It
right.
just so happens that there's a place full of Roman antiquities that mentions medallion in
Yeah.
this book.
I like that.
it is worth a look because his servant is shady, and we definitely need to look into them. But it's also worth looking at these two locations because what have we got to lose?
I
Famous
Time.
last words.
Also,
And 10 lira.
Yeah, no.
the military
why we wait till
police are
Sunday.
also MPs, so we ask all the military police we find. Are you Marco Polo?
Maybe it's a code word, I don't know.
I think we should move all the beds into one room tonight in case there's more ghost activity. I do not wish to sleep in the dark.
Well, the beds wouldn't fit all in one room, but
We could
can
open
leave
the
the doors
doors.
open. The adjoining doors will wedge
leave them
open,
open.
yeah.
and then actually wedge them open. I'll put like a chair in between, so no ghostly slamming shut.
And I wonder what happened to the red-headed fellow. I wonder.
Oh man, he's having a bad night. I don't think those guys that grabbed him were gonna treat him kindly.
He is
All right.
sadly probably.
All right, so my last question. When you go to bed, I would like you all to roll power rolls.
Oh, 24 is a hard.
6.
That's 45 out of
There's an
50. So
extreme.
I just succeeded.
93.
Ouch.
Oh, 67 out of 65. Just missed it.
All right, you missed it. Then roll a, what is it? A 1d6. And that is how many magic points you lose.
Wow. 4.
6.
Ouch.
That's going to affect your tomorrow morning. It's going to be, you're going to have a restless night. It makes you even feel a little sick, a little headachy, a little bad. But we will pick up on the next morning when we play next week. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gassaway, Stuart Lively, Keith Craig, and Josh Harwood, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you would like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.